What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Gotti. Welcome to the Black Barbershop. We got my boy Ace Boogie up in here. What's the deal, Ace?
What's the deal, Brody?
Man, we got our special guest today. We got one of our queens that's back in this thing.
Yes.
We got our girl Rashida. What's up, girl?
Whoop.
Yeah, we don't have Rashida from Love and Hip Hop, but we got Rashida. You feel me? What's the deal? How you doing today, man?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, so we know a lot of people tuned in today. We're going to be actually having a mental illness awareness show. I know you got some questions for us, but you know everybody is here for some of the segments as well that we do have. But before I do start, how is everybody's mental capacity today? How y'all doing today?
Everything is good with me. It's fine.
Gravy. Okay, what about you, Rashida? What's the deal? How's your mental?
I'm feeling good. I'm up $800. I played the little game on Instagram, so I'm feeling real lucky. And I'm just excited to be here with
that
you guys.
Ponzi scheme.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're going to have to put me up on that. Belize's been doing that for a long time.
It's legit if you play it with the right people,
Yeah.
trusted people.
Do y'all have to do it weekly, or is it just a one-time thing?
It's
pop?
one time. If you decide to do it with the right people, then you good.
Okay, for sure.
And it's one time and you won 800 and it's over. Can't nobody win no more money.
Nah, if y'all want in, let me know.
Nah, I got you.
I thought you said it was over.
Well, for me, it's over.
Oh, you
Yeah.
can't. Oh, you got to get out.
Yeah.
Nah, for sure. Well, you got to shoot me $40 out of that. But yeah, what I'm finna do is I'm finna have this conversation with y'all. But before I do want to talk about my mental. Man, I'm tired, my nigga. I've been at home working from home.
I was just about to say, what the fuck is we supposed to say?
I don't know, man. I'm motherfucking tired, though. I'm ready for outside to really open up. There's some things I need to get done, too, man. Like, I've been stressing. I got court dates and shit that's been pushed back. I just want my shit to be done. Like, I'm trying to get my money right while I'm at home, but it's like I can't make no money at the same time. It's just, It's bullshit right now. Like, Governor Garcetti needs to get this shit right, man. You feel me? All that. I mean, Mayor. He's a mayor. Yeah, Mayor Garcetti. My bad. Hey, man.
You calling out the wrong people.
At least I know the nigga name. Shit, that's all that matters. But, yeah, we need to open outside. But, yeah, before we go into the portion of the show about mental illness, we do have some conversation to have. So I do have a question for y'all. What did y'all do for 420? I actually played that song, you know, just to get the little LA vibes going, smoking, drinking, all that good shit. But does anybody in here smoke by any chance?
No.
No, okay. What about you?
I'm not a smoker either.
That's crazy.
Wait, what if you smoked the other day, though?
If you smoked the other day, then that means that you're a social smoker. That don't
nah,
mean,
but that was like the first time in like a long ass time.
What that means is you just a social smoker. So maybe, you know.
But because there's social isolation, maybe people was not as on it. Because I didn't see that many 420 posts.
I feel it. I mean, for me personally, I don't smoke, but I did used to smoke.
When was that?
Hold on, I think it's this.
Yeah.
Oh, move it.
This cellular device. But nah, I used to smoke, and it's crazy because I used to heavily smoke. Like when I turned from the age, I used to smoke socially when I was like 14 to 16. Then I started big smoking when I got to 19. Like when I started going to college, I started big smoking. But then like the weed started getting too strong, my nigga. Like it started being some different shit. And then when I turned 21, I had an episode. Like I smoked one day and had a panic attack. It was crazy because I ran out of the homie house. It was crazy. But yeah, I was just tripping though. But ever since then, a nigga don't smoke like that no more. So I don't really fuck with it. I have no like nothing against it. It's just something I don't fuck with like that. But I do have a question for y'all. Do y'all think that people that smoke are dealing with mental illness by any chance, or any mental illnesses at all? People that smoke.
I guess we'll find that out a little bit later. But just for you to be smoking all day, every day, and trying to get your, you know what I'm saying, you trying to get your mind off of something. You know what I'm saying? Because it really makes it to where it's like you kind of don't have to deal with reality when you high. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, I feel
it's
that.
Kind of like, you know, you go to another
element.
Another realm or some shit. Like, you just be stone-faced the whole time. So, I don't know.
It's crazy because I remember when I used to smoke, like, it just used to give me that vibe to eat and sleep. But now, like, when that's the last shit I smoked, yeah, that shit had
And
me.
we living in a time where it could be that some people might just be smoking because it's popular.
Yeah.
Weed can also be therapeutic. Not, again, that I smoke, but I know a lot of people who do find marijuana to be healing.
Mm-hmm.
But to piggyback off of what you said about a bad batch and you had an anxiety attack, that's real. Like, we really went to school with people who had a bad batch of weed.
Facts.
Where psychiatrists is talking about they got schizophrenia when they really just had some bad weed.
Facts.
So, I mean, watch what y'all smoking. Watch who y'all smoking with.
I know me personally, I smoked some shit that wasn't like.
I was just talking with Baby about that the other day. Like, when you smoke with people and you pass them the blunt, like, is that like equivalent to like kissing?
I don't know. That's deep.
Like,
That's
what if they pass you a wet blunt? How could you dry it?
That's some other shit. You thinking too deep. You probably was high when you was thinking about that.
Nah,
too.
we wasn't high. Actually, I don't think we was
That's
high.
some high shit. But yeah, that's a kiss. I guess that you can count that. You can count that as a whole kiss, my nigga. Got your mouth wet. But nah, we finna really like go in on this mental illness, because I do think that people that smoke personally don't know how to deal with reality. And a natural high is something that people they push to the side. I think a natural high is pretty much self-healing in its own. Now, something I do agree with is CBD. I think CBD is a great healing process for people who do it. Smoking, drops, food. Because I have been a part of the CBD movement at one point, and I enjoy it, but that shit is very expensive.
Right.
It does help you with, stem cells as well. It makes stuff that's in your body just reorganize itself and get back better. So I fuck with CBD, but for the smoking process, the THC, I ain't too fond of it, man, because THC really kills a lot of brain cells.
You gotta think. It's like, we talking about life, right?
Yeah.
So for you to be high all for a whole day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's like drinking all day, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
that's in our segment, because
you would label that person an alcoholic, right?
Yeah. But
if they're alcoholic because they're dealing with what? Like, you're not just an alcoholic. There's a root to you being an alcoholic.
Right. So what do we call people who smoke weed all day?
We don't call them anything. They just smoke
I call
weed.
them smokers.
But why?
It's a smoker.
Because everybody who smokes weed all day is not necessarily like going. But we'll talk about that. Like, let's get into that.
Yeah,
because
So we're gonna go into another segment. Who needs a lineup? So this is finna be bomb, because I really had some bomb topics. My nigga Ace did his shit on here right here. But we do want to talk about the Teddy Riley Babyface. That shit was wild, man. They was hitting us with hits, but these niggas is old, man. These niggas couldn't get it right.
Like, they don't know how to work live.
Like, on God, like Teddy Riley done got up to peeing shit 3 times on live. Like, this nigga got 400,000 people waiting on him.
Nah, he did that every time Babyface hit his ass with a hit.
I know that nigga had to go use the restroom.
He started looking back like somebody was calling his name.
On me, he kept touching the camera and shit, like he was making the sound better. But yeah, man. Who do y'all think won out of that? Did you watch it, Rashida?
I didn't watch it. And I am not ashamed to say I had to Google who Teddy Riley was. Like,
okay.
I didn't know who he was. But when I heard his hits, I'm like, I for sure know that song, but I just couldn't identify.
I can't lie. I'm only aware of who he is facially from The Breakfast Club, but I did know who he was musically. Like, I knew he was I knew his name.
He for sure had hits.
Yeah, I knew his name. And I knew that for sure he wrote Can We Talk, so I thought that was
Can We Talk?
That's a banger right there. But nah, man.
I'm a Babyface nigga.
Hey, Babyface, I think
he's the greatest songwriter of all time.
I think that I don't even know Babyface songs. I just know he. No, I'm saying, like, I know that he's a writer, and I know that he produces a lot of shit. But I'm saying he makes so much songs. I don't even know.
Give me a Babyface song. Come on, give me a Babyface. What's a Babyface?
You talking about one that he didn't sing himself?
But a song that he sung that we know for sure. You know.
Christmas in June.
Something more like on the radio. Like, what's a Babyface song?
No, I'm saying that's my bar right there. Christmas in June.
Babyface.
All of Toni Braxton shit.
All of her. Oh, I'm so in. Okay.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he did write every song. I'm old, my nigga, but I'm young at the same time.
Right.
So this is gonna be hard for me.
For that.
And I'm gonna be real. I think my era of
Y'all
music.
both get a pass.
My era of music started when Nelly came out with Hot in Here. I'm just saying. That's just me being honest. That's when my catalog started. That's when I started having my ear for music. But
Teddy Riley and Babyface got to be known figures.
I'm trying to see Nelly and 50 Cent go on live. That shit'd be hard. That's just me though.
Never.
They two different. Two different genres. It's not even a competition.
All right, damn. I'm just saying. I want to see that. Damn, y'all ain't gotta shoot my whole.
They were trying to get Bow Wow and Romeo.
Bow Wow would kill Romeo. Bow Wow got so many hits.
My God. I think
we were trying to play him, but he has
I think
hits.
Romeo only got Fresh as I'm is, my nigga. That's it.
Who?
Like Exactly, right?
What?
Like,
That's Bow Wow
That's
song.
Bow Wow.
exactly. I'm saying he ain't got shit. I don't know. Nah, what?
Man, what did you just say?
Fresh in my ears, whatever that shit is. How the song go again?
That's Bow Wow song.
Nah, don't he got a song just like that though? He got a song like replicating the same thing that Bow Wow did.
I don't know.
All right, never mind.
Oh, Romeo, give me a chance.
That's the only song he had, huh?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
He had P. Miller
I don't
on.
remember him having no hits. Like he can't.
He had P.
It was
Miller
just
on.
Probably that one. Yeah.
Why would you even put him a Bow Wow? Every song he came out with for years in a row was a hit. Like
Hey, Bow Wow really had P. Miller on. I'm just saying, P. Miller was the shit back then.
I ain't rolling.
All right, so we finna go into another conversation, which is, let's see what you got down here, man. So we do have Nicole Parker, and we got Boris Cujo. So let's reflect on this video. This video was actually put out. It was a live. It did hit the Shade Room. Nicole Parker was basically talking about the freshness of a relationship, keeping her very interested, but also it's like a validation issue for her. Like, I guess she was kind of going in circles saying that Boris don't do the same things that he used to do when they first met, but at the same time, he's doing those things because she didn't want him to look stupid on live. But how do you feel about her craving that attention in the live and talking about that lively in front of everybody?
I don't think there's nothing wrong with her being honest, but I was trying to get the information last night. I was trying to get did she actually say that she missed the single life?
She actually did say that, and she made a statement and said that you ever been flirted with and still like the idea of somebody liking you because it's brand new.
She's entertaining all of that.
Yeah, she says that she likes it.
The only problem that I have with that is it's kind of sounding like it's kind of sounding like she putting him out there like he not taking care of business.
Yeah, I seen that. I say the same thing.
And so we want to say that, but then we don't want to say that. Like, oh, she said that, but no, she wasn't saying it like that. So it's like what was she really saying? Like, that's the problem that I had with that. And that was the same thing with Asia Curry. It's like, what are you really saying right now? You saying your husband gets attention, so you want attention? Like, what are you saying? Do you not want to be married? I don't get it.
How you feel about that?
Okay.
You think that she deserved to say what she said?
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's her man. She just shouldn't have did it.
Do you think she deserved to say what she said?
She just shouldn't have did it in the way she did it. Like, everybody was tuned in. Like, that's a conversation you take your man to the side and you have if your needs are not being met.
Yeah.
Now, but what she said, she wants attention from her man. She wants her man to date her husband to continue to always date her. So she had every right to say that.
Yeah, she was talking about fresh text messages and
I mean, who don't want that? Like, we're married. Like, you're supposed to date for the rest of your life.
They've been
when
together
we're
for a long
married.
time. I think they
make it
celebrating
fresh.
15 years.
Make it fresh. Every Friday, let's do a date night. Let's get spontaneous.
Okay.
It's supposed to,
especially because both of them is busy.
And that's what makes it even more like, let's put something in place to keep it fresh.
But I think you had this conversation with us before. Remember, you said that the honeymoon stage,
it phases.
It phases. So that means that...
And I've grown since then, and I know. From what I know and what I said back then, I know that the importance of making sure that y'all keep it fresh in a relationship. Because the minds do wonder.
Okay. The minds do wonder.
And that's deep. As a man and as a woman, like, who don't want attention? Everybody wants attention.
Hey, Nicole really has, like, Boris Cujo, and she's still out here flirting.
I ain't gonna say everybody want it, but...
She ain't no good. She ain't no good, huh?
Everybody want attention?
Nah.
Everybody who don't want attention.
Okay,
like love.
Let's pose
the question.
Let's pose this question. How do you keep the spark in your relationship? Do you think people seek attention when they flame has died, or do you think that people want attention and it's okay to act on it if they do want that attention? Like, how do you feel about that?
So, question. If I
Yeah.
never act on anything.
Yeah.
I never, it's not an act. I don't act on anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't go into it with this situation. But I entertain attention.
Yeah.
Isn't that just as guilty?
If you entertain attention?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because
who are you
it,
entertaining
what-
it
what-
from?
what-
Like, who are you entertaining?
From the opposite sex, right?
at this,
I mean, that's what we talking about.
Because
Are
at
you
this,
married?
because,
Are you in a relationship? All of this is perspective.
okay,
like,
this is a relationship, a genuine relationship, regular relationship, and I'm only saying
You should only want attention from
when
your
you
spouse.
post it like that, Nicole's a cheater. But go ahead, what you about to say?
Wait, hold on. But
She's
you hear
not
what
a
she just
cheater,
said?
she's not
But you hear what
acting
she just
on
said?
it.
Yeah.
You should only want attention from your spouse.
Yeah,
Yes, that's why you rate your spouse. Your
But-
spouse is supposed to meet those needs.
but that's
what we talking
impossible.
about?
That's
okay,
impossible.
Well, then y'all need to talk about it.
Wait,
Y'all
what's
need to do the
impossible?
love language
It's
quiz
impossible.
and meet each other.
It's impossible to only want attention from your spouse, and I only speak in reference to you seek attention and validation from everybody around you in some point, in some way. If you think about it like that, because your peers matter.
I never heard that.
Your peers matter.
That is true.
The validation of people that critique you matter.
But we talking about relationships. So again, all of this is
Right.
perspective. We're talking about relationship, and from your spouse, everybody wants that
See,
attention.
I was
from
on
your
y'all
spouse.
side. I was trying to make Nicole not be a cheater, but she a cheater.
She's
'cause
not a cheater. She
you're not
just shouldn't have
supposed
said
to
what she said online.
You're not supposed to seek any validation or attention outside your relationship. That's how I feel.
But what if it just... I'm not even about to defend her. Fuck it.
Yeah, it is what it is. She should
Because
have said.
I was about to go there,
"You
but
need
I
to
don't
give
agree
more
with her.
attention."
But I'm a defender.
I was
though.
about to give her out, but I don't agree with her,
Hey,
so
look,
I can't.
Hey, look, I'm going in a full circle. So, look, I'm going to say this. What she said was not wrong because she was speaking facts. She was speaking as if you was a single person. And I think that if you still have wants and needs and you're in a relationship, then that means that it's okay to have those conversations with the person that you
We
with.
need attention.
You don't think that it's okay?
Hold on.
She said we need attention.
Yeah, I said that. I'm gonna speak for myself. I need attention.
And do you need that from only the person that you dating?
I mean,
or-
so what is he
I
doing?
would only want that from the person I'm dating. If I'm dating you, give me attention.
I mean, so what is he doing? Is
So
he
how
busy?
do you
Is
feel?
he
Okay, so a question for you because you're a
making
woman.
movies? What the fuck
A
is he
question,
doing?
a question. Okay, so a question for you because you're a woman. Do you like to be flirted with by other cute guys? That's just a question I would like for you to answer.
As a single
What
woman,
the fuck?
as a single woman, who wouldn't want or like the attention of being flirted with? That's
No.
just being honest.
Okay.
If I'm in a relationship, no. My eyes, I don't see it. I don't hear it. Like, my man, you're my man. Give me the attention.
So when you're in a relationship,
If I'm in a relationship,
you're not flattered by a handsome guy flirting with you. That's what I'm asking you now.
why are you trying to give me a chip?
Because,
That's a lie.
because
I mean,
I just
I
want
would
to know.
say thank you, and of course it's flattering. Like, who wouldn't want to be said they're pretty? But I'm not. It's not gonna gas
got it
me.
right
Like
here.
my man should be the one gassing me 24/7. Like, so that won't do nothing for my ego. That wouldn't do nothing. That I would say thank you. I
But
appreciate
sometimes-
it, and I'll keep it pushing.
Right. Sometimes
Because
people do.
I
let
want it
gas
from
them.
my man.
Sometimes people do let it gas them, and then they come.
Yeah, and
then they
that's
come.
where y'all need to have that talk.
No, I'm
but
saying,
no,
and then they
I
come
only
and-
want to be gassed by you, babe.
And then they come and then they bring it home, but they're just like, I got niggas complimenting me all
Okay,
day.
then
You
that's
didn't
a
even
prob-
say I look beautiful this morning.
And that's what we gonna talk about, like women messing, like damaging a guy's ego, and does that lead to like
In the mental illness section,
yes.
is that right?
Okay, so
I have a
why?
question
Okay,
like
so
that.
why is it more acceptable? This is what I think. Maybe I'm just talking, but I'm being honest. Why is it more acceptable for a woman to accept those attention seeking validations from somebody, but when a guy wants to say that he wants attention, he's looked at as either a hoe or a metrosexual. I'm just saying he's looked at in all these different lenses that he wants everything in his
Yeah.
he want all his eggs in his basket. But a woman, when she does it, it's just looked at as, oh, women do that. Like,
Right.
why does it look like that? Like
We need
that?
attention.
Yeah, why can't men want attention
Okay,
and
so
say they
I'ma
want
try to-
attention?
I'm only try to speak for myself in answering that, but I would say I think women have way more self-control and discipline. We know that this is our man and we not cheating on him because we're loyal to that. A man get attention, y'all let that shit get to y'all head, y'all get big-headed, and then before you know it, y'all... Not all men. Again, I'm not generalizing it, but for most, like, a lot of men don't have self-control. A lot of men do not have self-control, and y'all let it get to y'all. And I don't know, women are just naturally more loyal when it comes to that.
I think men do have self-control.
I ain't generalizing. I'm just saying from my experience. I'm only speaking from experience.
Okay,
Right.
so why? Okay, so why in that lens? Because it's funny that you say that. Why do women think that men can't be big-headed and egoed if they have something that makes them that? But a woman, she's just not judged at all, and she's gonna always feel big-headed
Right.
and do
If
that
a,
because
if a woman walks around with that type of confidence, I
She-
don't think nobody is gonna say that about her. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it's kind of like a natural thing for a woman. It's kind of like a natural aura for a woman to walk around.
Yeah.
With that type of confidence.
But when a guy does,
right,
he's an asshole.
I just said it. Majority are gonna act on it.
We're gonna act on it, as in we take it into.
Take it to the head, and before y'all know that little you handsome then turn into y'all flirting at work and shit, like, or some other stuff. Sorry.
So you think that we take advantage of the opportunity to be big headed?
Sometimes.
Damn, that's deep. That must mean you know some niggas that's.
Again, I'm only speaking from experience.
Okay. What about you,
I'm not
Ace?
generalizing at all.
Do you think that?
What?
Do you think that men that are given the opportunity to get attention, walk around with big balls and make it jiggle and don't care about nothing that nobody else got to say because they the shit?
I think they will.
You think they will?
I think it's something that, I mean, cause I mean, like I was saying before, like, when we walk out the house, bro, how many times do a girl get at you a day?
Well, we had this conversation.
No, I'm saying,
Exactly.
just keep it real. How many times do a girl get at you?
as-
It never happens.
And that's why y'all gonna act on it, because
But
y'all don't get
it happens
as
to
much.
them probably like.
Well, I'm saying
A
this
couple-
is.
And you
well,
prove
I'm
the
saying,
point.
times a
well,
day.
He's
well,
proving the
well,
point.
well, I'm saying this is previous, and we have different situations. But I'm saying before my relationship, like me in the past, like I'm just saying I used to get women that shot they shot, and I used to be like, this shit is crazy, but I never took it to my head though, because I had a lot of self control as well. For me,
And you're one of how many?
I'm just being honest with you, and I'm
You've
not
always
trying to.
been a good guy,
Yeah,
so
I'm
that's
not
like-
trying to be that, but I mean, like I've been. They shot at the gas station. I done been with the family out. I done had girls put their number on the receipt, like stuff like that. And this is like previous. This is like 22, 21.
I mean, it happens every now
Yeah,
and then.
but
It
I'm
happens
saying-
every now and then.
But now, no. Like no, now, no. Like
But why though?
You know why it's gonna happen to somebody like Godwin? Nice guy, charming, like he fits it. Like a girl gonna shoot her shot every time.
Nope.
That's very to me.
Especially
back-
this is-
but I'm saying
to
back
me,
then
like,
it
he's
didn't happen.
educated. He got all of these things going. Like he's a good guy.
I'm not
It's
buying
gonna.
that.
You not.
I'm a woman. Like I know. So
You
they
can't
gonna
know that
shoot it.
unless you know him.
But you could
all
just
of that stuff
tell,
that you
like,
just
if
said
you meet
about
him on
him.
a college campus and he's in
If
class
I see him at the gas
and he's
station, I'm
saying
not
good
gonna
morning
know
to me
that
every
about him.
night, and he's probably going to open the door.
The girl,
He's probably going to open the door.
the girl that wrote it on the receipt, she couldn't possibly know that about you.
He probably said,
But
good.
I'm saying, baby, hey,
You
but-
could tell by
hey,
a
but
person's presentation.
You know something too, though, Ace? You've probably been in a situation too, but you weren't conscious of it. I'm just saying, it's possible
what?
of being shot at you. It's a possibility.
I'm not sitting here and saying it never happened in my life.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you speak in
I'm saying
reference
as
to
opposed to
accident,
women, opposed to our women or women.
Yeah.
Right. How many times you think she got at a day
compared
versus
to
you?
me, compared to me, of course, way more than I do. That's being honest, way
So
more
if
than
we
I
did
do.
a percentile, it virtually never happens. Am I correct?
Yes.
It depends on. Okay, yeah.
Next.
Or maybe we not fine enough. I don't know.
No. You being realistic, but I'm speaking in reference to when you on top of your shit. Like you dress nice, you have your haircut, you go certain places. Like you have an aura that brings people towards you. But I know 9 times out of 10 more women have that aura than men do. You are correct about that.
Our men just might be more aggressive. Where it's like, let me holler at you, even though it might not be the right way to try to, you know what I'm saying?
Nowadays, women is going for what they want. So
Yeah, women are going for what
Yeah,
they
if they
want
want
these
it, they
days.
see
But
it.
I'm only talking from a different lens.
I doubt it.
I'm only talking from a different lens. But yeah, today we actually finna go into the session right now of our mental illness segment. And what you got for us, man? Let
We
us
ain't
know.
got shit popping in the chat.
Yeah, let us know what's going on because she got some questions for us. She about to
No one's
evaluate this.
commenting.
We don't got no popping in the chat. Me smiling and shooting my shot. This is the type of shit I just seen.
Okay, so you guys invited me on to ask y'all questions. You can take that over there. You don't want to take it over there? You don't want to take it over so we can kind of like...
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So,
Run it up.
I'm talking about mental illness because, of course, for the last 4 years, I've served as a mental health therapist. And so I'm not at all an expert. I'm still a student of the game, always learning about ways to improve self, right? As a therapist, as a black woman, as someone who is a strong advocate of promoting mental health in the Black community, like I realize that there is a need. I realize we're not talking about it. I realize we need to talk about it. And so I'm glad you guys invited me to talk about it. What way to talk about it than with you two Black men, right?
Why do you think it's a need to talk about mental health?
Because we're not talking about it. Like,
Well,
it has become more prevalent recently, I would say, like, in trending. I don't know why that is, just off the top of my head, but it is something that is starting to come up. And because it's coming up, we have everybody else talking about it and leading the discussion but us. Like, we have people who don't look like us who are narrating our stories. We have people who are doing research on us and what mental health is like in the Black communities. But again, we're not at the forefront of these conversations, at least not most. So I realized that I do have somewhat of a platform, and I wanted to use it to talk about it.
Well, lay it on us. Let us know, because we posted some stuff on the page as well. Let us know what you had in mind on our evaluation and what questions you might be thinking that we need to be evaluated on and think about deeply as well.
Okay, so just in general, I'm going to give you the definition. Mental illness is any condition that affects your mood, thinking, or behavior. So just keep that in mind. And so with that being the definition, you have words like you may hear depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, post-traumatic stress disorder. But what I think most commonly people suffer with, you'll hear, is probably depression, anxiety, and being traumatized by our experiences as Black people. So just to give context, I strongly believe that we have experienced trauma from slavery to Jim Crow, like just as Black people and as Black men, right? From slavery, Jim Crow, this mass incarceration movement, you guys being fathers and not being in the household, you guys being subjected to like gang life, gun violence, like there's so many traumas that you guys have subconsciously experienced. Right. So my question to you guys would be, what is your understanding of mental health without me giving that definition? Just what's your understanding of it?
I honestly didn't have one. I felt like before this, I mean, we all kind of deal with everything that goes on in our life or mentally on our own. You know what I'm saying? So we don't speak on it.
Yeah.
It might be some shit that you don't speak to nobody about. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like certain people deal with it better than others. And I mean, honestly, that's why I'm here. I want to get a better understanding of it, because I don't think it's kind of like the episode we had about postpartum depression.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not educated on postpartum depression, so I can't identify with it. So somebody telling me they're going through postpartum depression, I'm looking like, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like the same thing with this.
I remember that conversation. I mean, me personally, I just think that when I hear mental illness, I think about being crazy. That's the first thing I think about, honestly. I think about when people speak about mental illness.
The SSI check.
Yeah, I turn my nose up at it. I get a little bougie. I be like, nigga, I'm okay. And I'm strong. Like, I think about the idea of nobody in my family committed suicide. Like, what the fuck? Mental illness does not exist in my community, for the idea that I was told. It's like when you was a little boy and you fall down and your uncle say, get your bitch ass up and stop crying. It's one of those situations. Yeah, man. My uncle was a man. He was a crazy man, too. But I'm saying he had some mental illnesses as well. And I mean, things like that, I start to evaluate as I got older. But it's like being a little boy and falling. Honestly, your parents is going to tell you to get up because only little girls cry. It's one of those things where you just put in your brain and you say, I'm never going to be that. And that's what I continue to, try not to do with my kids, but it's installed in me already. So I do find myself saying things to my kids like that, like to install certain things. And I sometimes question it, because is it the right thing to do? It's like, if I personally think that mental illness is not real in the Black community, then something is wrong with me, honestly.
Nah, it definitely is.
And I could admit that.
It definitely is. But that's what I was going to say. Is so, are we talking about a mental illness being anything that's toxic going on in your mental? in your brain.
Anything
That's toxic. So it could be maybe the way you was brought up, or maybe some of the beliefs that you have. See, we can't go into that.
And so there's a lot of different questions that this can lead to, and we can talk like forever, because my argument is we have mental health conditions, which is the stuff that I listed earlier, and then I believe we just have social stressors. And like how I was talking about earlier, like if as a black man it's hard for you to get a job, if you having baby mama drama, if you're being discriminated against, if you're subjected to like these things, you're more than likely gonna be probably depressed. Or if you see your homeboy get shot, 9 times out of 10 that's a traumatic experience that you gotta heal from.
Nah, for
so
sure.
I mean, it's so many things, and just us sitting here at this conversation talking with 2 black men is starting the conversation already. It's definitely starting the conversation.
Right. So let's get into it.
So what's up? What you got prepared for us?
Okay, so my other question would be, have you ever experienced any traumatic events?
You want to start? Ace?
What is
A traumatic event can be defined as something like physical abuse, being in a car accident, witnessing community violence, being exposed to rape, gun violence, having a separation of a parent from a home, from divorce. It can be anything.
righteous?
So what you dealing with, Ace? Let us know. You dealt with any of those situations?
Well, I would be classified as separation from parent from the home.
Okay.
That's one of them. And for sure, community violence. And I didn't see one of my friends get killed, but I could have almost was there. I almost was there. Like, could have been there at the yeah. Did that fall in like community violence?
Yes.
Right. So.
Anything that is impacting your mood. So if you've seen it or you was exposed to it and you felt some type of way subconsciously about it, like that's traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's what I would fall under.
Okay. How about you, Godwin? Have you ever experienced any traumatic event growing up in South Central Los Angeles?
Well, I do have the same identifiers as Ace. I know I also have imposter syndrome. That's big for me in all avenues when it comes to coming to having a family that's, immigrants and assimilate into the American culture. But also I had imposter syndrome in college as well. Going into an environment and learning a new, different atmosphere. My biggest one would probably just be, maybe community violence. It was ways of me being bullied and, without knowing I was being bullied. Like I think a lot of shit that's normalized for me should not be normal.
Right. I think that might be the biggest thing because, I don't know, it's like.
And that's why we're here.
Like I went from. In elementary school, I went from student body president in my school in 5th grade.
Damn, bro, you student body president?
No, this all facts. I ran the real race. Donald Trump won that. 5th grade, student body president of my school, and then right as soon as I get to 6th grade, I get a culture shock from junior high, and I feel like I got to be from a gang in order to survive here.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. I felt like that at one point too.
And that's traumatic. And so by you saying normalized, it's not normal. I think that's the key word in the message that I want to convey to the listeners here. Anything that none of this is none of this is normal, but it's what we've been exposed
but
exposed
it's normal
to.
for us.
Exactly.
It's a normality for us.
Exactly. Which leads to my next to piggyback off that question, like you being exposed to it, was it something, again, was it normal? You said you kind of already answered the next question.
No.
And if you felt that it was normal, like, or how has it impacted you and shaped who you are as a man?
It became normal over the years.
Okay.
But, hell no. We used to have grown men coming up to the school, you know what I'm saying? Like, fighting us, trying to. And we was at that time, we was in junior high. Like.
Okay, so you got grown men coming up to you, trying to get at you, bang on you, whatever the case may be. How did you deal with that? Like, what was your coping for experiencing this traumatic event?
Just got to deal with that shit.
Right, shit.
Oh God,
Nothing.
It's hard to explain.
And I didn't.
It's hard to explain.
And I never told my mom none of this because I already knew how she was gonna react. So the first win that my mom got, she caught wind of this. She sent me out the district. I moved all the way to Corona.
Okay.
And that's what I didn't want. I wanted to stay with my friend. So whatever happened or whatever was going on, I dealt with it internally. I maybe told my brothers and my cousins, and then you know what I'm saying, back to school the next day.
Yeah, if the homies was good, I was good. Honestly, I looked around like this shit ain't normal, but at the same time, like I felt like I didn't have no power. I felt like I had to assimilate to what was happening in front of me because the idea of me telling is like you snitching.
Right,
and snitches get stitches.
Right.
That's number one. Like
the most important thing I think we've never. I mean, and this is the craziest shit. You never felt like your life was threatened.
I don't know about
and that's,
that one.
Nah, I'm saying
my shit felt threatened.
Nah, I'm saying it's crazy because I never felt like my life was threatened, but it's been times where we done been shot at and everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it becomes so normal for you that it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? That it kind of comes with the life.
Well, nah, I wouldn't say that it came with the life because I know that shit. I was timid, nigga. I went to Dorsey and I would walk through Crip, and Blood neighborhood. I would have to walk through the West Boulevards to the Harlems, to the BPSs, to the 20s, and it was just like, this is too much for me. But at the same time, it's like the visual that I had on TV to see people die, drive-bys, losing homies as well to certain gang violence. It made me intimidated. So I was walking through neighborhoods, always making sure I was on my shit. Like, this can't happen to me because it could happen to me. You get me? So I had to be aware of, and it was normal. I'm just saying it was normal because I didn't know how to actually like.
And if you felt like that at age 13, 14, I'm curious to know how has that shaped your influence now as a black man. And that's just gaming. And we're not talking about your traumatic experience with police because I want to hear what that's like too. Like that is a traumatic experience, seeing Trayvon Martin getting killed, like seeing like Fidel Castro. I'm sorry if I got his name, but seeing all of our black people getting slaughtered on TV with no consequences. Like how has that impacted you? Because that's traumatic as well. Secondary trauma.
Well, yeah, that shit is real.
So how has that shaped your experience, like now as 30-something-year-old man?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it's normal. I hate to say it. It's kind of just normal. It's kind of like almost you expect it. I knew Trayvon Martin, what's his name, Zimmerman. I knew he was gonna get off. I was watching the trial. I knew he was gonna get off when they called the girl that Trayvon Martin was on the phone with when he got killed.
Yeah, then we got Mike Brown, Fidel Castro, we got Sandra Bland. We have all these different people that have been killed. To be honest with you,
but do you know they show us that type of shit on purpose.
But it kind of desensitizes. Again, all of these things is not normal, and all of these play into your mental health, having to see it over and shared over and over, and then the emotion of nothing not happening over and over.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. I'm intimidated by getting pulled over by the police, and it happened to be that later on in life I became more intimidated. I wasn't scared that scared when I was around 19, 20 as I am now.
Facts.
And right there, when the police get behind you, what's the feeling? Give me the symptoms. Like, what's the feeling? I'm about to give y'all some little psychoeducation. What's the feeling when the police get behind you?
Whole body get hot.
Hot. Okay, that's a symptom. Give me another.
Heart start beating.
Heart start rate. That is anxiety. Like that. It's
and you turn into a white man.
And you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to transform for nobody. But the symptoms of your heart racing, you sweating, like those are symptoms of anxiety. And yeah. So look that up.
But these are feelings that people feel every day.
So there is something called generalized anxiety.
Like a mental illness. Why would we classify that as a mental illness if these are feelings?
It's PTSD.
Anything that affects your mood, thinking, or behavior. So if your mood is being changed, if you was just happy and the police get behind you, now you scared, like your mood is being altered.
So what if, right?
Or you're
hypothetically speaking, your day is going good.
Okay.
And I walk up to you and I say, fuck you in your day or whatever. Just something to kind of throw you off of your day. That alters your mood, right?
It can alter my mood.
It can alter your mood.
It can alter my mood.
So
It only alters my mood if I've had a previous experience where anybody came up to me and did something and I was traumatized by it. So now you're re-traumatizing me, and now
I guess the thing that I'm trying to ask is, it seemed like, and what I said earlier, it seems kind of like this mental illness thing is kind of like COVID-19.
Okay.
Elaborate. Based on what we're saying, it seems like everybody has some sort of mental illness.
Yes. I believe, as a student of this mental health, I believe that everybody in some way has experience.
How do you think we're supposed to deal with that? By talking about it?
We talk about it. We educate ourselves. We get more informed. We know the difference between what is mental illness and what, again, us just not having resources and access to shit, because I think that there is a difference. And then just having a conversation, like making the conversation normal to talk about it, and breaking the stigma that, I mean, everybody say go to church. Like, everybody's not religious. Everybody don't have access to money to go talk to a therapist. But if we create conversation and spaces for people to talk about it.
Because there's a lot of things that I want to classify as a mental illness.
But everything is not classified. It's like levels to it. Like, it's different symptoms. And then if you meet a criteria, then that's when you're labeled.
Religion changes your mood. It alters your mood.
Religion?
Yeah.
I think that we should say that for a whole nother. We can go deep with religion. My next question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's good.
All right. My next question. So we kind of talked about it. Like, I guess it's kind of themed around trauma, just because I do believe that trauma leads to other conditions and mental health related diagnoses. But all of us in here from LA, born and raised. You said you moved to Corona, but you still cultured. And in certain films, right?
I only lived there for a year. Don't try to make me an IE, baby.
You're not really from LA.
I'm still an LA nigga.
Okay, so I had identified like 3 films, right, that are like classic LA films, and I want to see like if y'all can tell me like what was the diagnosis, or if there was some sort of trauma, and if it kind of impacted you.
They are John Singleton
from
movies.
the movie.
Low key. R.I.P. to John Singleton. So the first one, we have Jason Lyrics. Have you ever seen Jason Lyrics?
I have.
Okay. Do you kind of remember anything from Jason Lyrics?
I do. I remember.
What stood out to you the most that may have like
envious?
Okay.
Just the fact
that was his brother, right?
Yeah, just the fact that his brother, I think his brother was kind of jealous of him.
Okay. But what did the jealousy lead to? Like, let's take it there. Like, at the end, what happened?
He killed him.
Did he kill him, or did he kill himself?
I need to watch it over.
Okay. But basically, in the end of the movie, if I remember correctly, he went in the thing and he killed himself. We was young watching that, and so suicide is real. Like, black men really do suffer from suicide. So that was like first.
In some ways, he wasn't being treated like his brother. And then at that, they used his brother as a light-skinned character, and he was a dark. If you think about how they actually casted the film, he was a darker-skinned brother. His mom didn't believe in him like he believed in his brother. His brother got the pretty light-skinned woman. There's a lot of different things that affected him as a black man.
Exactly. It affected. And why was he like, all of this is really levels. Why was he a fuck up? Because daddy wasn't there. Mama wasn't giving him love. Yeah. He's being discriminated against based on the color of his skin. Yeah. He not like, again, it goes back to these.
And that's what I was saying. It's kind of like, I'm not going to say I don't believe in mental health, but I do believe that some people are stronger and they find ways to deal with things better than others. So by me not having a father in the house, it could have stirred me in a whole way crazy direction. I could have been bald head nigga in Jason Lyric. I could have been him. You get what I'm saying? But I feel like certain people deal with it better than other people. So some people might use that as an excuse to act the fool. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to other people who might take that and let them not having a father or whatever it is that handicaps you, you can use that as motivation to be better.
But let me challenge you a little
Sometimes
bit.
people do that. Sometimes people handicaps motivate them.
But let me challenge it a little bit. Everybody don't have the skills because everybody don't know how to develop those skills. And again, that's why we here in conversation to learn healthy coping skills. People smoke, people isolate, people drink, people do all of these unhealthy things because they've been conditioned, they've seen it. It's been generational as to how we deal with it. We don't talk about it. We gonna go get a bottle of Hennessy. We gonna smoke. We gonna party. And we gonna laugh.
Right.
Like Black people, we laugh through our pain. And nothing is wrong with laughing, but we gotta address the pain. We can't always laugh and smoke through it. We can't always do that. And so we need skills. We need conversations to learn healthy skills to deal with this. And also, I think we should talk it out.
As a whole, I don't think we've been like I honestly think that it's so much of a competition between Black people and us one-upping each other. It's like we almost can't, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to share your minuses with people. You know what I'm saying? Almost to a fault, like, which is learning. I mean, our community is big on you know how our community is. Our community is big on snitching. So you got people who be sexually abused and don't say shit about it their whole life.
Hey, Kendrick made a good point. He said everybody has mental illness formed by past traumas, but the difference is how we deal with it. So it's like it's like the conversations that we are having right now is true. Like we've been through it, but it's like honestly, have we dealt with those like honestly, I can't watch Jason Lyric again. I can't watch one part of Menace to Society, and that's when he kills the Asian people in the store. There's certain
you can't watch that part.
I can't watch it because I have certain. I'm just saying.
It's re-traumatized. It's serious.
No, I'm being as honest. I'm being as honest and vulnerable as I can. Like. It did something to me seeing that he walked into the store and killed those Asian people because it was the idea of, damn, if I stepped on this nigga's shoes, like, would he kill me? Like, my mind went different places to meet somebody like O-Dog.
And you got people like that.
No, it's serious.
I can't watch that part. Like, I can't. It's crazy. That's one, to this day, I can watch it because I'm a grown man, but it still affects me, though. And I'm being honest with you.
And Menace to Society was actually on there because it's a lot of scenes in there that a lot of Black men have experienced. Like these movies are based on real life events, and Menace to Society was one. Us being re-traumatized, Boys in the Hood. I can't watch the scene with him Ricky laying on the couch and the mama over him crying. Like that scene is real life for me. My auntie had to do that, and so every single time, like I'm like turn it, like turn that off because we're re-traumatized, and so that just goes to show you, like I'm still healing. And that's, again, we got to talk about those things. So
who do we talk about it with? That's the question.
It's a conversation. It's a conversation to be had because I can't lie. One of my personal traumas that I've dealt with was daddy issues. I had a lot of things that I had to say to my dad that I never said to him throughout my life. And I'm only speaking this because this is a real ass show and I'm sharing a real ass story. Like there's been levels of anger that I didn't know how to deal with it. Like stuff was happening to me growing up. Like I would be mad at certain shit because people, I don't know, maybe I was envious in some ways. People was able to afford certain shit, get other shit. And I would always be like, why am I so mad about this? And it's because they had a certain other source of income to help them. But it's kind of like I had to deal with that. Like, it's not my mom's fault that I'm not falling in the category of everybody else that can do everything else. But I'm saying a lot of things that I had to tackle within myself was all to do with me having to have a conversation with my dad. And after having a conversation with my dad, I was able to bail him out of what I thought he was rather than what he really was. Meaning that I had a more defined image of who he is rather than me guessing on why he did what he did. So when I talked to my dad, I was able to just, honestly, it was crazy, bro. It was like a weight off my shoulder. Like, I was able to start looking at different things with a clear point of view without having any discrimination against him or what I was feeling. And it's sometimes a conversation just that simple that it can actually open up doors and you can just start to feel better.
In that moment, that's healing. We call that healing. Yeah. Like you took your steps to heal.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Like, what does your steps look like to heal? Everybody's steps is different.
Well, what if you don't ever get that healing moment? But it's
then you suffering in silence. That's what I call it, suffering in silence.
So what do you call the people, right? Because anything that's toxic that's supposed to be going on in your brain is a mental illness. So what do you call the people that take that toxic thing that's in their brain and they let it drive them and they let it motivate them? And they use that as drive for their life. And they end up being successful because some of the most successful people in the history of all existence have come from the most fucked up conditions.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying? So what do you call that? Do you still consider that a mental illness, or is it kind of like what's the driving force behind the success behind that person?
So I'm not calling it a mental illness. They've experienced these traumatic events and they became successful. They have healthy, they're resilient. Black people are resilient just off top. They found healthy ways to cope, whether it was excelling in school, whether it was excelling in their work. But I guarantee you somewhere along the lines at night, they shedding tears or they wishing something was different. I can't guarantee that, but I know that there's a part that they're isolating, or I just, let me speak for experience that I know that to be true, that you can have all this and somewhere down the line it's going to hit you. It may not hit you now, but it's going to resurface somewhere in your relationship with your kids if you have not addressed your traumatic experiences.
That's what I was just discussing with her. Honestly, I don't know how not having my father in my life affects me. I don't know.
But that's not. I don't agree with you on that, because
subconscious. It's like,
but it's just the idea of you not being able to. No, because I'm being honest with you. You see certain things that you don't have answers to. That leads to your answer right there. And then at that, when you say
who's
people
to say he can give them to me?
Yeah, but then listen. You said this too. You said, how can you use all of your negative to go through life and be positive, right? Like you use all the negativity to be successful.
Right.
What happens is you are carrying all of those wounds with you, and one day you will bleed out. You will. Because you need to heal. It's like
you putting a Band-Aid over something.
Yeah,
like
you're putting a Band-Aid over and over and over.
You excelling. At some point, nothing is gonna satisfy.
So this what I'm asking you. This is what I'm asking you guys.
Sometimes
here at this table.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes you just need to hear it from your dad, bro.
Nah, right.
It sounds crazy.
Or the source, whatever the source may be.
But this is the thing. This is what I'm asking y'all at this table.
Yeah.
I'm about to be 33 years old. What if I never get that? You mean to tell me I can fix that by talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you never address it with him, if you like have an open talk to self or to a man that.
Nah, I believe that you can, bro. I'm being honest with you,
bro.
I mean, but again, this is one thing about people's healing process. We just gotta we give you information. We say this is A, B, and C, and then you figure it out.
Right. What if I already got over it? I spoke about it a couple times.
Subconsciously, it's gonna be a movie you gonna watch. Or a song you gonna hear, and you're gonna be you're gonna think about. Damn, my daddy.
Because me and you have had this conversation before. I personally think, bro, it's one of those situations to where you have to really put yourself in the avenue of being an outside source and looking in on yourself, and also taking out the stubbornness that you have. Because I feel like you think that you know that you are okay, but in all honesty, bro, you have to be able to be vulnerable with yourself and say, what are you not okay with?
See, that's where we gonna disagree, because I don't think just because I have minuses don't mean that I'm not okay. Like, I'm good, bro.
I get you on being good.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I look at the glass half full.
Okay.
And I have empty, bro.
And
that's how I always looked at it. Like, okay,
which is good.
Bro, not here. He don't want to be here. Like, he can't make us be here. Cool.
Yeah.
But what does that mean for me? If I allow that to fuck up my life, a nigga who has already decided that he doesn't want to be here, that's on you, bro. That's not on him.
I get you on that.
You can't continue to make that excuse.
Let me just hypothetically. So let's just say you never need that from him. I guarantee you, because it doesn't always necessarily have to impact you in a negative way. But I guarantee you, the moment you have a son or daughter, you gonna go extra hard to prove that you'll never be like your daddy. So it's gonna come out some way, like, and it's gonna come out no matter where you do it.
It shows.
It shows,
out, bro.
So I'm telling you, start that healing process. Or you gotta write letters.
So that's what I'm saying. What is what? What is what?
What is the healing process?
Yes.
To actually talk
acknowledge.
You You have
what's wrong.
Yeah, like
Or-
you just said
I've
it.
done that.
Yeah, but you just said it. Like, like you just basically said, I agree with that. But it's like, are you talking about that?
He don't really even have to talk about it. The moment you acknowledge
Somebody
it,
just
the
said,
moment you acknowledge that you good, I feel. If you really good though,
Right.
Yeah.
if you really good, as long as you
Somebody
acknowledge
just
it,
said,
that
who
there's
determines when or how the healing occurs?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. As long as you
Who
acknowledge it,
determines
you're good.
that?
Yeah, I feel it.
Self. So
Me, right?
Yeah.
self. As long as you acknowledge it though.
It's
And I-
cool.
I think
It's
my
not a-
other question was, so I had seen Charlemagne the God had posted a post on his Instagram. Are
Yeah.
you guys okay with going moving
Yeah.
forward? All right. And it got my attention, grabbed my attention because I do think that mental illness in black men is real. And so the post said, men get depression. I want to know if you guys believe that that's true or false.
Facts. I think it's true.
Okay. Ace.
True or false?
Men get depression.
I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
True.
You want to elaborate? You need some understanding.
I don't know what this shit is. I don't know
Okay,
what this
so then
I struggle with this topic, bruh.
Depression.
I'm telling you.
Depression. Feeling sad, isolating,
Yeah.
lacking motivation.
But
These are all symptoms.
This is all I'm saying.
This is human behavior.
Everybody
Yeah.
experiences
it's
this.
human behavior.
But okay, everybody
It's not
does.
something
But
that's
if
an
if
isolated
it's
situation, it's-
impacting you like for moments at a time, so I don't want it to be this. There's a DSM, right, in clinical terms that we follow to diagnose people as therapists. And so these things have to occur. So if you just have an isolated incident where you just witnessed somebody get killed, I expect you to cry. I expect you to be trauma. I expect a reaction. I wouldn't classify that as a mental illness, right? But if you see that and this impacts you for over a period of time, like weeks at a time, where you're not getting out of bed, you're not showering, you're not eating, and like everything kind of changes, then I'm gonna be like, okay, let's talk about it. Like, you're experiencing some depressive symptoms. Like, what's going on with you?
Yeah,
So
I
that's
never-
the only way it becomes where it's
I
impacting
never-
you for
I
a
never
long period of
witnessed that.
time. Okay.
Wait,
men-
hold on. Nah.
It's never been a
Never.
time where you was just in a slum, like,
Nah, it's been a
like
time
I
where
don't
I've
want to
been in
do
a slum.
shit. I'm not motivated. I don't want a breakup. Like,
It was
it's
for
so
some
many
stupid
things.
shit, though.
It don't matter what it's for. Anything can impact your mood.
Nah, I've dealt with depression recently. Like, I've dealt with the idea of just not being where I want to be, and also being at a stature in my life where I think that I was supposed to be entitled to shit. So I've dealt with it behind doors, you know.
Especially
like,
90s babies turning 30. Like, we
Yeah,
was supposed
like-
to.
yeah, I thought that I was
It's a marathon.
I thought that the life that I would have would be a little bit better than it is now. You know, like, I didn't see a future at one time, but when I started to see a future, I aimed very high, and I think that I'm at 75% of, you know, accommodation of what I needed from there, but I still got 25% to go, and that 25% is big. It's really big.
Okay. Next one. Man gets suicidal thoughts.
I have had suicidal thoughts. I'm gonna be
I
honest with you.
appreciate your honesty. And this is real.
And it's
But-
not killing myself. It's just staying asleep. That's me though. Staying asleep.
Yeah.
Is
Because
that
having
wrong?
having suicidal thoughts, right? They could be passing like, oh, I don't want to be here no more. This is serious, guys, because people are really killing themselves at alarming rates, especially black people.
Okay.
But yeah, so suicidal thoughts is just like passing thoughts, like, I don't want to wake up. I wish I was.
That was
here,
mine.
but-
I didn't want to wake up. Like, I just wanted to stay asleep.
Yeah. Okay.
You ain't never thought like that?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's me though.
What did you think? Like, you wanted to kill yourself?
Not kill myself, but I just
Okay.
wanted to stay asleep. I didn't want to. I didn't
So
want to
you
face
was like
the world.
lacking
wanted to
motivation.
take
You were
the easy route.
depressed.
Yeah, I didn't want to face the world.
Yeah. Okay, but for just before I go on to the next one, anyone who is experiencing suicidal thoughts, there is resources for that. So definitely check in. It's a 24-hour suicide hotline. Men get mental illness. I think that y'all both agree that that's facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't talked about that. This was my kind of last question, and it's just kind of like challenging the men. Have you guys ever been in a relationship with a woman, or like someone in your life told you to man up instead of saying it's okay to talk about it? Like, you was going through something and they tried to like make you talk about something, or like maybe you had a bad day and they like, man up. Like, has anybody ever got at you like that, where you were feeling away and they used you being a man to kind of push you out of your that feeling.
I don't fuck with people like that.
No, well, that's very good. That's very good.
I'm just being honest.
That's very good.
If I can't complain to you, we ain't meant to be, because you should be able to complain to me.
That's very good.
That's just me.
Nah, they're going to complain to you.
Yeah.
It's not. They ain't gonna ask your permission. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So nobody never like bruised your ego, like said something about your
after
character.
a breakup.
It's been shit been said. It's been shit been
that
said.
has impacted you, like in your ego,
Um,
and made you question self-esteem, because having low self-esteem and low self-worth is definitely a symptom.
Yeah, after a breakup.
of something.
right.
After a
Okay.
breakup, not during a relationship though.
Okay, well that's great.
Yeah.
So then my question is kind of like null and void, but for listeners, I think that was important, because I've had seen, even in the movie, I was going back to movies and Baby Boy, like how Yvette talked to Jody, and like how he was like how the whole character was, he was going through shit, and Jody was.
I just feel like self-esteem is esteem of yourself.
But if you have,
It's how you feel about you. And that's what I'm saying. It's like if we continue to put everything off on so many other people and so many other things, it's like, when do we step up and take accountability for where we are in our life, how we think in our life, how we move in our life? It's like, it's almost like I've never been that type of nigga to put how my life ended up on my traumas.
okay.
Or what I've witnessed or what's surrounding me. Like, I've been surrounded by that shit my whole life.
All right, Ace, can I challenge you a little bit?
Of course.
Okay, that's you, right? You are one black man, but for a majority of your other black brothers,
And it's what I just
right?
told my black
right?
brothers.
You got one of your black brothers mom was on drugs, daddy in jail 25 some years to life. He has to sell drugs on the street. He's witnessed like crimes and all kind of shit.
This question ain't gonna go nowhere, because Ace believe that self-efficacy is real.
But how,
like, people
how
have
does
to
he,
do shit.
How does he have any? How can he validate himself? There's nobody around to give him love or self, and that's why we got so many black men drowning in drugs and drowning in liquor.
I just know you, bro, because we had
and
this conversation many
in
times.
these things, because they don't have those things. So like you have it. Like, you successful. You've been able to develop it, but for the collective, a lot of our people in our community don't have, or lack, I don't want to say they don't have, but lack some of those things that you may have. And so how do we reach out and build them? Everybody don't just got it to where they just look in the mirror and say they got it.
Honestly,
that's the hope and the goal that they built that. But what do you got to say about that?
I don't think it's something that we can reach out and build.
Really?
And this is you talking to somebody that's.
You don't think that we can reach out into the youth and be mentors and teach them skills and how to sell? You don't think that?
You definitely can do that. But at the end of the day, it's like, as a mentor, right? You go home at the end of the night. You go to wherever your habitat is and wherever you dwell. And that person that you mentoring, if we talking about these conditions, they still got to live in that.
This is true, but you don't think not one seed that you plant in that day before you go home can, like,
of course,
change or spark the next generation?
Of course, you can definitely have that situation, but for the majority, and we just speaking about we speaking about the majority, because it's like one seed is not gonna do it.
You don't think so?
Nah, we was taught that through religion. You plant the seed,
and that's why you gotta separate religion, because
right. We was taught that through religion, so they taught you that you plant the seed, and it's. Honestly, I feel like it's been a ton of mentorship programs around for years and years. They was around when I was kids and all of that. And it's like, what's happening right now? Honestly, I could say our youth now are worse than we was. Can we agree?
I mean,
they no longer fighting. They want to shoot niggas with 30-round Ks and all this. It's
lack of leadership, lack of love, lack of self-esteem, lack of all those things that we talking about. And if we can plant more seeds and get more people like us who do have those skills, who does have the success, reach back out and touch the youth and touch a neighbor, somebody that's your age. I'm pretty sure you a therapist to so many people. Like, you cut hair. Barbers and beauty salon people are like therapists without having license. Like, so you doing therapy without even knowing. Like, people are vulnerable in your chair telling you their life story. So you planting seeds all day while you collect
And I
them
try to
haircut.
do my best. You know what I'm saying?
I just want you to challenge you a little bit because you said you don't think them seeds is planted. Like, you giving somebody a space to talk about baby mama drama or wifey issues, or
Right.
you building their self-esteem just by cutting their hair. Like, all of that plays into what we talking about.
But it's almost like I mean, it goes back to what I said. When do we kind of step up? I think ownership of one's own life is the way. It's not. I don't think it's mentorship. I think it's teaching kids accountability.
Accountability is big.
Yeah, because you could go mentor a kid, right?
Yeah.
You can go mentor a kid. But what if that kid that you mentoring, the house that he's growing up in, every time he gets in trouble, his mom is going up to the school acting like it's not his fault that he's in trouble? Then his mom is
his mom got
a bigger figure in his life than you.
Or maybe he does.
But that's
he's acting out because he wants attention from mom.
Right.
Let's just hypothetically.
And his
like,
mom is a bigger figure in his life than probably you, right?
Not necessarily. Because I work in this and I know it, and I've.
It's always a key. It's always a key source to what's happening.
There's a lot of reasons why kids end up the way that they are. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's like you can mentor me, but I still got to go back to my conditions, right? So you can mentor me, right? And you can tell me all the good shit in the world. But when I go home at night, my lights is cut off and the water is cut off. So what if I'm still feeling like I got to sell drugs, even with your mentorship? Yeah, I got you in my ear. But mom's lights is cut off. And the big homie is showing me that I can do this, and that, and make fast money. It's always going to be, you know what I'm saying, that situation is going to always be more alluring than what you're saying, even though I might agree with what you're saying. It might be right.
No, you're right.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I think these are two separate conversations because it's like mental health, and then we talking about like lack of resources. And a kid in a project needs you. Yeah. So to get back on our mental health, right? So I asked those questions, and I think lastly, what I just want to pose to you, like you saying, like, what are the tips? How can we break this? Like, what do you do for cope? Like, how do you cope? Like, how does Ace cope? If you feeling down, if you're feeling depressed, what's your coping skills?
That's a question.
What's your coping skills? Yeah. How do you cope with shit?
I deal with it internally.
You think that is the best way to go about it?
It works for me. I don't cause too much harm to nobody.
Okay. I mean, my copingism skills, I don't have them.
Okay.
I don't know how to cope with stress. I don't know how to cope with anxiety. I just try to talk to somebody if I can. If not,
talk to yourself.
That's a coping skill.
Yeah, if I can't,
it's talking to yourself a coping skill.
I was just going to say that.
It's a healthy coping skill. It's called positive self-talk. Affirm yourself daily. God, when I got this.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror like you.
That might be what I do.
It's positive self-talk. That's a coping skill.
I don't even think I say that, but I probably do.
Positive affirmations, positive self-talk, being in relations is coping skill. Eating healthy, coping skill. Exercising, coping skill. Having a therapist. I highly encourage everybody to get a therapist. Working out is a coping skill.
I said I think everybody should have a therapist, but I got people that disagree with me because they feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, why are we talking about mental health? Why we don't think we need therapists?
I think everybody parents and hairstylists is their therapist though.
But they not licensed, so that's good that you have somebody to talk to. But I'm sorry.
Some people feel like therapists don't. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like one of my niggas just said, he said, it's easier said than done. In the real world, the mentor don't come up like the project kid. You know what I'm saying? So if you go into a therapist and the therapist really can't relate to your situation, it's gonna be hard trying to spill what you going through to that person if they can't honestly feel, if they don't know where you know what I'm saying, what you talking about.
I agree, listener, but there's somebody for everybody, and so if let's just say people in this room, we've all been there. We just shared our collective experience. If we go back to whatever hood you're talking about and reach out to a kid, that's one less kid that has learned the skills and you planted the seed. I encourage Black therapists because I think that nobody knows our plight like we know our plight, and
And then I'm hearing when people ask for a black therapist, they ask them why they want a black therapist.
It don't matter. I'm paying my money, or my insurance is paying you. If I want a black therapist, I want a black therapist, and I won't stop until I get one. But there are black therapists out there, and so highly encouraged. Highly encouraged. What's some more coping skills, guys?
I mean, that's my only.
I mean, before we close out with our last segment, I do want to ask y'all a question. If you can identify one insecurity that you have, what would you identify as an insecurity that you're still dealing with to today? And then we can go into our last segment, which is, yeah. So if you do have any insecurity, if you do have any insecurity, I would want you to just,
insecurity.
Yeah. What do you think is an insecurity that you still deal with to today? And then we can go into our segment, which is Don't Mess My Cut Up.
As crazy as it might sound, I feel like I believe in myself.
Okay.
But I feel like the people around me believe in me more than I believe in me.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
I do believe in me.
That make a lot of sense.
But the people around me, I feel like that.
Okay.
I do have a little self-doubt. Sometimes.
I got you.
Rarely, but sometimes.
What about you, Rashida?
This is like a touchy... it's super touchy, but you have to be vulnerable for other people. An insecurity of mine would be, like, I feel like I have to make it. Like, that's an insecurity of mine. Like, that so many people are counting on me, and in some way I'm gonna let them down. And so I battle with trying to be everything for everybody, when sometimes I personally want to go to an island and be to myself, like, and be free. But I know that I have a responsibility to my community, to my brothers, to my family. And so if I'm working on that, to kind of like take care of myself first and allow, the universe to be what I'm going to be for everybody else. So that's an insecurity of mine, just kind of wanting to be everything for everybody.
Yeah, I would say one of my insecurities is relative to what both of you guys said. My biggest thing is a lot of people do see the power in me that I don't see. And I do feel like I'm not where I need to be successfully. Like, I think that I have this mindset that I can do more, but I don't know how to take those steps, but I know how to take them, if that makes sense. Like, I just need to do it. But a part of me sometimes think about the losses in me taking those steps rather than the wins. I do need to put myself out there more when it comes to just, validation, because I know that I can do it, but I know that sometimes I seek validation from everybody, and sometimes I just need to validate myself, but that's something I'm really starting to work on, because I think that my confidence gets in the way of, like, critiquing myself, like, I know that I can do it, but it's like, bro, why would you do that when you could just do this and try to do, I guess you could say I try to aim on a middle bar instead of a high bar, because I want to be safe. I want to be in the middle. I want to make sure that I'm not taking too much of a step that's going to put me out. So yeah, I would just say my insecurity is believing in myself, I guess. Sometimes I don't believe in myself. That's probably where I would wrap that up to saying. But yeah, man.
Who taught you?
You said who taught me how to be?
Nah, that's a famous Malcolm X speech. Go listen to that.
That is a good speech. Yeah. Can I plug something before I related to mental health?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so today I launched my very first blog and website.
Congratulations.
Shout out to Jungle Photography for assisting me with that. But basically, the website is promoting mental health in the Black community. Like, I think it was important. So it's a free website. You go on there. I have a blog where I talk about my experiences, and from there you can share your experiences. They have tips on how to cope. I'll update them regularly, and there's also a link on there where you can find a therapist. So there's 2 links. It's called Psychology Today, where you can find a therapist, like, in your city, no matter the color or whatever. And then there's a link after that specifically if you want a Black therapist. Again, I highly encourage it. I have a Black therapist, and he's amazing. And so that's my blog. Follow me, mental note _by _Imani. And my Instagram, Mani _X _change. And yeah, check out my blog. It's called Trauma Not Drama. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you for our evaluation, man. We hope that y'all did learn a lot from us as well. But yeah, Rashida, shout out to Rashida for out here being on her therapist shit. But yeah, before we do end our show, we do have our section, which is called Don't Fuck My Cut Up, Don't Mess My Cut Up. My boy Ace got some lyrics for me.
Snaps.
He finna spit some lyrics for me, and I'm about to
Okay.
and then
Am I the hype man or what?
yeah, and then we're gonna have some wrap ups. We're gonna actually have some takeaways for today.
Okay.
So yeah, man, what's the deal, man? What you got for me today? My nigga Ace finna go in and talk about some shit. What's the deal, Ace? Introducing my boy Ace Boogie up in this thing.
Ace.
Get some energy going.
Ace.
Okay.
So what song lyric do you have for me? What you got, man? What you got?
I'm try to put it to y'all on the best. Don't laugh at me. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. Gotta get my voice up. I guess it's about to come. Y'all ready?
Yeah. This nigga. I'm wondering if I'm gonna get it.
While y'all was being bad, I was being good.
Is that it?
That's it.
What?
While y'all was being bad,
I was being good. Yeah. That's a. Come on.
Who's that? Mystical?
PD Pablo. I don't know. It's a raspy voice, so
Y'all
I
close.
was thinking.
That's Kick the Sneak.
I don't even know.
Okay. Keep the sneak. Yeah, I don't listen. I don't listen.
Keep the Sneak.
Yeah, I don't listen to
That's
Keep the
like-
Sneak.
Wait, hold on.
Know what I mean for sure. Know what I mean.
That's
for
like
shit.
a Bay. I'm not
Don't
from
put
the
that
Bay.
on that song. But she used to listen to that song.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
You was a hyphy girl, remember?
I was
You
not a
part of that. You
hyphy.
was part of
I was
that.
not. I was not.
Nah, because I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's do this one. What's the next one?
I went to Jacob an hour before I got my advance. I just wanted to shine.
Jay-Z?
I don't know. I only listen to Nipsey.
These some niggas that I don't listen
close.
to.
Who is that,
Close.
guys? Do
That's
y'all know?
Memphis?
That's Kanye.
That's Ye? When Ye say that?
That's on Touch the Sky.
Damn, Ye said
I
that?
was trying to use some mainstream shit, but it's always going to be old.
Yeah, 'cause you-
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
We need radio music.
Nah,
That is radio.
You
That
was
was
a,
on
you,
radio?
you was a real hip-hop listener, though.
What Lupe Fiasco? Touch the
Oh.
Sky. I got to testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly.
Nah.
Yeah.
Y'all not going to get this next one. I might as well not even read it.
Just say the next one. I might know this shit.
If my situation ain't improving, I'm trying to murder everything moving.
That's Jay.
Yeah, you're right.
That's Jay. I heard that. That's
I need to expand my music.
what song is
selection,
that?
guys.
Hard Knock Life.
Yeah, Hard Not Life. Yep.
Yeah.
I see. Look, I got the one.
yeah,
that-
you got one
Look,
right.
I got the one
You
that you
got
thought
one
I
right.
wasn't
You got
finna
one
get.
right.
Good job, Godwin. Positive
one right.
reinforcement.
Right.
Coping skill, baby.
You ain't shit for positive.
You got to get better, though.
reinforcement.
Last week, I got all three right.
Man, I got.
Or
I
do
got.
I
all,
need to get better?
I
Do
got.
I
all,
need-
I got all three right there. But I'll be giving you some. I'll be giving you some bangers though.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to do better, Nick. I'm going to do better.
All right. So we finna go into takeaways. If you can have anybody take away anything from this conversation, what would you have them take away? Anybody want to start?
If I can have anything take somebody, shit. Let me start over. If I can have anybody take something away from this, in the words of the great Donald Trump, I would have to say, we can't let the problem be bigger than the solution. And what I mean by that is you can't let your personal traumas or you can't let whatever you've been through in your life be bigger than what the outcome of your life is going to be. You only get one of these lives. You get what I'm saying? So we can go through life making excuses. It's like, oh, our father wasn't there, our mother was on drugs, or I grew up in a gang, and that's not where you got to stay.
And who said that again?
Donald Trump.
The great who?
Great Donald Trump.
Okay.
You
Did
can't
not.
you cannot let the
that
problem
was
be
a
bigger than the
message,
solution.
but I mean,
You
come
can't.
on, the messenger.
All right. What about you, Rashida? What would you have people take away?
I would just say check in with your mental health. Like that's important. That's why we're here. Check in with your mental health. Understand that there are resources. Understand that your mental health matters. Your voice matters, and there's always gonna be a space for you to hold space. I don't know. I'm sorry. There's always gonna be space for you to talk about what you're going through, and there's gonna be somebody who's willing to listen. You just gotta find that person who's willing to listen to you, but make sure that you know deep down inside that your voice matters and that your life matters. And that's what I have to say. Thank you guys for listening. Oh, and you're no good to yourself What's my favorite quote? You are no good to others if you're no good to yourself first.
Okay,
That's my favorite. Yeah. Sorry, I screwed that, but yeah, that part.
All right. I would say that my biggest takeaway today would probably be stay on top of your mental health. A lot of people don't realize that they're going through depression. They're going through having anxiety. They're going through suicidal thoughts, and they start to make that weigh them down mentally, and they don't know how to cope with the day. They don't know how to adjust to lifestyle. They don't have the conversations they need to have with the important people around them, and having those conversations make life a little bit better, take the weight off your shoulders. And the biggest thing I did take away from this conversation is that people are going to look at you a certain way, and you might not see how they look at you. And sometimes they see you in a high light, and you might see that you might think that they're looking at you in a dimmer light. So just stay confident, stay relevant, make sure you stay on top of what you need to do. But yeah, welcome. Thank you for coming to the Black Barbershop. We appreciate you, Rashida. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you guys for having me. I enjoy it.
Man, appreciate
Black
it.
men, take care of y'all mental health for real, for real.
For real. Shout out to all the black men out there going through some things too. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning into the Black Barbershop. Have a good night.
I'm gonna come with some West Side Connection next time.